Thank you. The Monday, February 25th, 2013, South Bend Common Council is now in session. The invocation by Reverend Fred Preston.
God bless everyone tonight. Would you bow your heads? And Father God, we thank you for your love and your kindness. We thank you for our coming together this evening with this Common Council. And we ask that you bless the president of the council, every member of this council. And Lord Jesus, bless everyone under the sound of my voice. Touch and bless, touch and save everyone. In the name of Jesus we pray, and we give you all the glory and all the praise for what you're doing, for what you're going to do. Oh God, lead and guide this council, give them direction what to do and how to do it. And Father, we'll thank you for it and we'll praise you for it. In the mighty name of Jesus we pray. Let everyone say thank God. Amen. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk John Bordy, read your roll. Mr. Scott. Present. Mr. Henry Davis.
Present.
Mrs. Shea. Dr. Furlick. Dr. Varner. Present. Vice President Oliver Davis. Present. Councilmember White.
Present.
Mr. Furlick. Here. President Beaver. Present, Mr. Forney. 9 present. Thank you. May I have the report from the subcommittee on minutes? Yes. Sorry. To the Common Council of the City of South Bend, the subcommittee has inspected the minutes of the February 11th, 2013 meeting of the Council and found them to be correct. Therefore, we recommend the same be approved. Signed, Derek Dieter, David Varner.
I make a motion to accept the subcommittee on the minutes.
So moved. We have a motion, we have a second on that. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Thank you very much. Go on to special business. First, I'd like to announce that 1312, the ordinance regarding the bicycles, has been continued, and that will be heard again on March 11th. So if you're here for that, that will not be heard tonight, nor will anybody be able to comment on that. Secondly, I will turn it over to our council attorney, who will give some information on some of the appointments that we will need applications for.
The City Council is accepting applications for a person who is a Republican by voting for the Historic Preservation Commission. You can fill out your application and file it with the Office of the City Clerk or go online for that. Also, we need 3 individuals to serve on the Urban Enterprise Association. You must live within the area which is designated. 1 Republican, 1 Democrat, and 1 business owner who lives within the district. And again, the deadline for that is Friday, March 8th.
All right, thank you very much. Also under special business, we have a report from Jesusa, if you were here. This is a 15-minute report.
Yes, it will be. So my name is Jesus Rivera, and I'm a field rep for Transition Resources Corporation. And we're going to go ahead and begin with the actual video. So that will be 10 minutes, and then we'll just kind of debrief and go the rest of the time between.
Okay, thank you.
Give the light, please.
I think she's representing these Transition Resources. Well, who are they? Yeah, just Washington. I'm guessing they won't tell you anything.
César Chávez dijo, usted nunca será lo suficientemente fuerte para no necesitar ayuda. Incluye el estado llamado el cruce de calles de América. Todos los días, aviones, camiones y ferrocarriles transportan millones de toneladas de productos para llevar a otra parte del país, de bodegas y terminales de envío localizados profesión. Indiana es un estado que tiene más trabajadores que gente calificada para ocupar estos trabajos. En la mayoría de estos trabajos del estado, el 54% de estos requiere un diploma de preparatoria o GED. Y nosotros en TRC podemos entrenarnos para que usted cumpla con los requisitos que los empleadores de Indiana requieren. Y este servicio, fundado por el Departamento de Trabajo de los Estados Unidos, es completamente gratis para usted. Este programa gratis fue desarrollado solamente con el propósito de ayudar a los migrantes y trabajadores agrícolas. Usted puede recibir ayuda si quiere, ganar al menos $800 o haber trabajado al menos 25 días en agricultura en los últimos 24 meses. También debe tener permiso para trabajar en los Estados Unidos. Los empleados de TRC entienden que son las únicas barreras que ellos enfrentan con los migrantes, trabajadores agrícolas y sus familias. Y en TRC se ofrecen muchos servicios que le ayudan a usted y a su familia. TRC ofrece servicios de emergencia como comida, ropa, gasolina y refugio para su familia cuando usted está recién llegado y no ha recibido su primer cheque de pago. Sus habilidades pueden ser evaluadas y un entrenamiento adicional se le dará si usted lo necesita. Estas clases incluyen seguridad en el lugar de trabajo y entrenamiento en pesticidas, así como también el idioma inglés y entrenamiento vocacional. Si usted decide quedarse en la comunidad indiana y quiere cambiar de profesión, TRC puede ayudarle a obtener el trabajo o ser entrenado. Usted puede visitar los campamentos, el campo y los centros de la comunidad. Todos los empleados son bilingües y algunos trabajaron en el campo también. Por ejemplo, el señor Diego Ortiz llegó a la Corporación de Recursos de Transición en 1999, cuando él tenía 53 años. Él estaba trabajando en una granja grande cuando le informaron de TRC. Nosotros ayudamos al señor Ortiz con vivienda temporal mientras le ayudábamos a conseguir trabajo, donde incluía una evaluación de habilidades, llamadas telefónicas, llenar aplicaciones y horario de entrevistas. El señor Ortiz encontró el trabajo de tiempo completo en el resort La Gran Victoria y Casino, como limpiador del Puente Casino, con un salario para empezar de $7.75 por hora. Después de 2 años, el señor Ortiz continuó trabajando en La Gran Victoria. Él actualmente gana $10.50 por hora y tiene muy buenos beneficios. Después de ser contratado el señor Ortiz, él seguía necesitando una vivienda decente, cómoda y permanente, lo cual no es fácil de encontrar en una comunidad extranjera pequeña como Rising Sun de Indiana. Después de muchos días de estar buscando, hablando con líderes de la comunidad y agentes de bienes raíces, TRC pudo ayudar al señor Ortiz a encontrar un bonito apartamento que podía llevar en bicicleta al casino. TRC ayudó al señor Ortiz con la venta y comida hasta que recibió su primer pago. El señor John nunca se había convencido conmigo. Fue paciente universidad fue empleada como oficinista y trabajadora afuera del DRC, y luego la ascendieron a trabajadora social. Después de la graduación, fue contratada por el sistema escolar de Frankfurt para enseñar a estudiantes de elemental. Yo estoy muy contento de tener a Fanny con nosotros. Ella es una buena persona y tiene la ventaja de tener la habilidad de hablar otro idioma, lo mismo que otra cultura. Por eso entiende la población, entiende a los niños y a los padres, y todo eso la hace valiosa empleada para nosotros. Yo recomiendo la Corporación de Recursos de Transición a las personas que yo conozco y lo he hecho. Ellos están impresionados con el programa y ellos preguntan por información de cómo ellos pueden aplicar y las diferentes formas de hacerlo. Igualmente, TRC ayuda a los empleadores a ahorrar dinero y tiempo. A través de las relaciones con los empleadores, TRC puede entrenar trabajadores calificados. Puede dar entrenamiento, experiencia en el trabajo, mejoramiento de sus habilidades, entrenamiento en pesticidas y seguridad en el trabajo y clases de inglés. También TRC brinda asesoría y consejería. Mr. Jim Bell, una agrícola en el condado de Brooklyn, ha empleado trabajadores migrantes por algunos años y ha encontrado la ayuda dada por TRC muy importante para mantener su negocio lucrativo. El trabajo migrante de personas no es muy viejo, es relativamente nuevo. Ha estado en personas por los últimos 6 años aproximadamente. Esa fue la primera experiencia que tuve con la Corporación de Recursos de Transición. TRC ha ayudado mucho a los trabajadores migrantes, dándoles lo que ellos necesitan, reparándoles sus vehículos, los ha ayudado con su vivienda y con todo tipo de ayuda social para esta persona. El programa de pesticidas ha sido de mucha ayuda a leer las etiquetas y a entrar hacia los campos. No hemos tenido ningún problema. Yo asumo que esto es de mucho éxito. Nosotros hemos tenido una buena experiencia con la Corporación de Recursos de Transición. Asimismo, otros empleadores encuentran a los trabajadores migrantes excelentes trabajadores. Conocimos a David Soderman, director de Recursos Humanos de Madison Precision. En este caso, TRC ha estado disponible en conectar trabajadores con empleadores quienes quieran proveer entrenamiento de trabajo. La Corporación de Recursos de Transición nos conecta con diferentes grupos de personas. Trabajadores migrantes que en muchos casos están buscando trabajo vienen a Madison Precision a través de la Corporación de Recursos de Transición con muy buenas habilidades y ellos aprenden una captura y aumentan estas habilidades. Los empleados se presentan siempre todos los días a tiempo y tienen muy buena ética para trabajar. Nosotros trabajamos con él con los empleados que contratamos de la Corporación de Recursos de Transición. Una vez, una mujer que voy a ser supervisora de control de calidad y luego la trasladamos a Japón. Nosotros estamos muy contentos con las personas que contratamos de la Corporación de Recursos de Transición. Ahora mismo en el estado de Indiana, personas con el GED pueden ganar $22,000 al año como nivel de entrada en las profesiones de cuidado de la salud. En la construcción de edificios, algunas personas ganan más de $25,000 al año. Las personas como oficinistas ganan entre $20,000 a $25,000 por año. Algunos mecánicos ganan de $21,000 a $32,000 al año. Y las personas que están en el campo de transporte ganan entre $20,000 y $38,000 al año. Llame a la Corporación de Recursos de Transición y hoy pónganse a trabajar para usted. Déjenos ayudarles con la transición y aumentar sus ingresos para tener un brillante futuro. Llame a la Corporación de Recursos de Transición a la oficina más cercana a usted. Esperamos su llamada.
Thank
All right,
you
Mr. Scott.
so much.
All right, thank you.
My name is Jesus Rivera, and I'm the field rep for Transition Resources Corporation, and I cover actually 22 different counties,
Okay.
the upper state of Indiana. And my job is basically to build the relationships between the farm worker, the farmer, the business, the social service agency, the schools, and the cities. In order to move the farm worker into a job that's going to be sustainable and at the end of the day become self-sufficient. So we're basically connecting those components. We've been in business since 1987, again working with the Chamber of Commerce. We are stationed at the Work One Center, and basically we work with all the Work One Centers in the state of Indiana because they are our business partner. I want to go ahead and I'll let him introduce himself, one of our customers.
Hello, my name is Emmanuel Ibarra. I stay at 702 South Carlisle Street. Started working as a farm worker here in Michigan. It was hard work, going through the fields. It was long, like it felt like miles and miles walking, and it was hard. I seen everybody how they wear their clothes so they can protect their skin. And hot days, I was thinking, wow, it's hard. After that, I went to New York. I started picking apples over there. It was hard. It was hard work too. I had to carry big ladders and the heavy buckets in front of you, putting the apples in there. After I came back from New York, I went to Work One. That's why I found out about Transition Resource. And since then, I've been talking to Paul here. He's been helping me out a lot. I mean, without him, without Transition Resources, I don't know how much good I've been doing right now, but since I've been there, I know I'm working on a work experience program through them, and that's helped me out. When I ain't have no food, they help me out with trying to get food and try to help pay my rent. And I really appreciate all that from them, and it's made me want to work harder towards accomplishing my goals, and it helped me a lot. So that's what I have to say.
So do we have any questions?
No, we don't. It's just the report. So thank you all for a great job and keep up the good work. We have a report. Other city offices, seeing none, may have a motion resolving the committee of the whole. So moved. Second. All in favor? Aye.
If it meets the President's
It does.
approval, I will remain in my seat since we only have actually one bill that's before the committee of the whole.
Do you want me to hit this for you?
At this time, we'd like to receive a motion regarding Bill 13-12.
I'd like to make a motion to continue Bill 13-12 to March 11th.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor of the motion, I hear your vote. Aye. Those opposed, the motion carries. Mr. Bordy, will you please give second reading to Bill 07-13?
Public hearing on a bill of the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana, amending the maximum salary and wages of certain non-bargaining employees of the City of South Bend, Indiana, for the calendar year 2013, and appropriating $237,417 from General Fund Number 101.
I don't remember.
The Personnel and Finance Committee held a committee meeting on this bill, and at this time, it was recommended that a motion to amend will be forthcoming. I will ask Councilmember Shea to read that amendment to, or our council attorney.
Thank you, Councilmember White. The Personnel and Finance Committee voted conceptually on a motion to amend Bill 713. The number in the title, which currently reads $237,417, would be replaced with the number $204,282. In the statement of purpose and intent, the sentence that begins, "Furthermore," from there to the end would be struck. In Section 1, Paragraph A, the two last lines of that paragraph would be amended to read, "Calendar year 2013, as set forth in Exhibit A, entitled City of South Bend Police Communications Center Proposed Salary Ordinance Adjustments, which is attached here too and included herein. And Section 2 of the ordinance would read, the sum of $204,282 is hereby appropriated and set aside within General Fund 101 for the purpose of funding the compensation provided in Section 1 of this ordinance.
Thank you. Council members, you've heard the amendment. At this time, we need to have a motion, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
And it needs to be seconded.
All right.
Make a motion to accept the amendment. Is there a second?
Second.
Is it moved and seconded? All those in favor of the motion to amend, may I hear your vote? Aye. Those opposed? Nay. The motion failed. At this time, we will now... Roll call. Okay, roll call.
Mr. Scott?
Nay.
Mr. Henry Davis? Mrs. Shea?
Aye.
Dr. Furlick?
Nay.
Dr. Varner? Nay. Vice President Davis? Nay. Councilmember White?
Nay.
Mr. Furlick?
Nay.
President Dieter? Nay. The vote is 7-2.
So at this time, do we need to have a motion?
No, the original bill as filed by the city administration is what is before the council.
At this time, we're going to ask the presenter to come before the council to state your name and address and to give us a summary of Bill 07-13.
Good evening. I'm Mayor Pete Buttigieg, Mayor of the City of South Bend with offices on the 14th floor of this building. Y a todos los civiles que están con nosotros, bienvenidos en nuestro consejo, bienvenidos en el consejo. Bienvenidos en la comunidad que compartamos y les agradezco en avance de su paciencia con este debate corte antes de la discusión de inmigración. I just wanted to thank the families in advance for their patience during this brief debate before we turn to the subject of immigration. The reason for this bill that is being proposed is twofold. Two areas where the administration feels that there needs to be an update in the salary ordinance that should not wait until the council and the administration work together to formulate the budget for fiscal year 2014. The first area concerns the communications workers who operate the phones in the 911 dispatch center. After research conducted during and after the establishment of the 311 phone center for the city, the administration found that South Bend lags behind peer cities in the level at which we compensate 911 operators who have, I think most will agree, one of the more stressful jobs in city government. And so the amendment to the salary ordinance is intended to bring their salaries more into line with other comparably populated second-class cities in Indiana. It would not make us the top-paying city, but certainly make us more on par and bring us closer in parity with comparable cities in our state. The second element is an amendment to the salary ordinance as it pertains to the mayor's office. You may recall that the office of the mayor had approximately 8 full-time employees in the 2010 budget. Under the budget we're currently operating in, there are 5. We had discussions in the course of the budget process last year about converting a secretary position into a position that would support community outreach with the intention of making the mayor's office more accessible and trying to ensure that the 14th floor is more readily available and carries a better ear for representation from folks throughout the community who may have not felt that they have enough of a voice right now in the deliberations and processes in the mayor's office. It also includes the ability to set up on a part-time basis a secretarial position. The intent was to fund those 2 positions out of adjustments, mostly to do with the reduction of spending in the mayor's office, as well as the conversion of that former secretarial position, so that the ultimate fiscal impact on the mayor's office budget is less than $2,000 compared to the original proposal from last year. I would urge that the council act on both these matters together, as they will, in the first respect, make it possible for us to pay 911 dispatchers in a level that's more comparable with other cities, and in the second respect, enable the mayor's office to better serve the community.
At this time, I'm going to ask council members if you have any questions regarding the bill that's before us, and that if you have any comments or statements that you want to make regarding the bill,
that those statements can be made when we come back to the council portion. I'm going to start with 1st District Representative. Did you hear me? I'm sorry.
I only heard part of it.
Okay, I'll repeat myself. This time, council members will be able to ask Mayor Pete questions pertaining to the bill that is before us. When we resolve back into the committee portion of the committee of the whole, that will be your opportunity to make statements or other areas of concern that you would have. At this time, I will start from 1st District and go all the way down to the at-large members to ask if you have any questions of the petitioner regarding Bill 07-13. 1st District Representative Tim Scott.
No questions, Madam Chair.
2nd District, Councilmember Henry Davis.
I'll wait for the statements, okay?
Councilmember Valerie Shea. Councilmember Fred Fernley. Councilmember Gary Dieter.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Yes, I do.
Yes.
The Director of Communications, is that a job that's been filled, or is that still an interim job?
We have a vacancy and are advertising for the position for Director of Communications. And I should stress that we envision that as a very different position from the community relations position that's been proposed here. The emphasis in the Director of Communications position is really on media relations and a press secretary.
I'm talking about the police.
Oh, I'm sorry.
The police, do we have a Director of Communications, or is it an interim director?
I believe the interim director is still in office. I don't know if the chief of police is here to offer any additions on that.
We do or don't?
Yes, she's here now.
Interim?
No, I'm the director.
Okay, all right. So I guess the question I have regarding that, and I guess if you or Mark Neal, why wasn't there any increase for the Director of Communications?
The observation that was made that prompted us to act was the realization that as we had created the 311 operator positions in order to make sure that those were competitive, we had set levels of pay that then shone a light on how far behind we were in terms of 911 operator positions. Certainly we have tremendous regard for the excellent and difficult work done by all of the employees in the communications center there, but really when it came to the parity issue, we were just focusing on the operator positions. If there's a finding that the director position is out of line, that's certainly something that I find the administration would be very open to discussing as we approach the new budget.
Gotcha. I got a lot more of it. We'll go back when we come to the council.
Councilmember Barner.
Not at the moment, ma'am. Thank you.
Councilmember Oliver Davis.
Two questions. Could you tell the public, what is the diversity currently of your staff?
In which respect, that's
ethnic diversity currently of your staff?
I would say that right now,
in office.
yes, I'd say that right now I would like to have a more ethnically diverse staff.
But of the current members, what is it now?
Currently there is, let's see, of the 4 positions that are filled, is 25% African American and 75% Caucasian.
Okay, thank you. When it comes down to the role of this particular person for the community, when there are crises in the community, whether it's water, fire, challenges in the neighborhood, would they be the ones going to represent the mayor's office, or would that still be a chief of staff, or will that be you? That's a serious question that people will have to deal with in that matter.
Councilman, I think we'll continue to staff particular situations or emergent issues on a case-by-case basis. But the hope is that having an additional staff position will enable the office as a whole to be more responsive. So, for example, having one more person able to attend meetings or interact with people is not intended to take away from my availability or that of the chief of staff to get involved, but rather augment the ability of the office as a whole to get involved.
So in terms of that, you don't see this position as a way of, like you just said, augmenting your staff. So if out in the 6th district there's a challenge or something else going on out there and there's a call for you to come out, automatically this person would be the person to be sent out there all the time, because you indicated today that you're looking at working with possibly underserved populations in this position. So if there are issues that relate to underserved, quote-unquote, in your words, populations, we are going to be looking at this person coming instead of you or other members of the staff, or how? Please explain it to me.
I think this person would be one more person from the team who would be able to be responsive, so that in a situation now where you might be spread so thin that somebody might not get a face-to-face meeting or might have to wait for a number of days, in this case a staff member would be more ready to respond. But it's certainly not intended to put any distance between anybody and myself or the office. In fact, another role for this person in many cases might be to accompany me, so that if I'm personally on hand to resolve an issue, there's somebody who can be with me and then be able to coordinate some of the follow-up that's needed with people who most need help.
So you see this then as more of a company position with you to come out to the neighborhoods instead of just being the lead person to come out to the person?
In many cases, yes. There will be times when I may not be able to attend something, and as is the case now, a member of my staff attends instead. But this is certainly not meant to diminish the number of times. If anything, the goal is that the relationships that this person will build will help me to become aware of more occasions when I might benefit the community by personally engaging with a part of the community that currently feels underrepresented or underserved.
And my final question, Mr. Mayor, given the nature of what you just shared, would you see a kind of a person of this magnitude being considered from the city of South Bend? Or are you looking outside doing a national search? Or are we looking at a local homegrown person who understands the neighborhood and people here?
Sure. I'll be careful to answer this in a way that is appropriate in terms of HR processes and anything like that. But what I would say, Councilman, is that in order to succeed in a job like this, I would expect there to be somebody who has a very deep knowledge and deep level of mutual comfort with the individuals in the community that we're most hoping to serve and represent through that position.
I appreciate that. I will reserve my comments at the time you appropriate.
Councilman Furley? Okay, at this time we'll move to the public hearing portion. Is there anyone present wishing to speak in support of Bill 07-13? If so, we ask that you come to the podium at this time, state your name and address for the record.
Good evening. Gary Horvath, Division Chief, South Bend Police Department. I have offices at 701 West Sample Street. Representing Chief Ron Teachman, we're both at South Bend Police Department. We both are asking for your support for Bill 07-13, the salary adjustment for 30 communications dispatchers, supervisors, and assistant director. Something that just brings to light is that these individuals, professionals, are responsible for answering the phones and dispatching approximately 100,000 police, fire, and EMS dispatchers throughout a calendar year on a 24/7 basis, and responsible for being the sole lifeline between the public, law enforcement officers, firefighters, and EMS services. Again, by approving this salary adjustment, I will be part of a acclamation that as to their services, their certification, and training in a highly stressful and skilled job. Again, special thanks for City Controller Mark Neal, Interim Chief Chuck Hurley, and other government administration under the Mayor for recognizing this as a problem, along with the Common Council. Again, we ask for your support.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, my name is Diana Scott. I'm the Director of Communications. Is that better? Yeah. I'm the Director of Communications for the South Bend Police Department. My office is at 701 West Sample. Good evening, members of the council. I'm here tonight to speak to you about a group of people I'm very proud to work with each and every day. Their dedication to the police officers, firefighters, and citizens of South Bend is unwavering. They make me proud each and every day to work with them. This past year has been very challenging in our department. Yet, our workers have worked record numbers of overtime, both mandatory and voluntary, to make sure that no call was missed and no emergency overlooked. I can recall a time when Supervisor Audrey Raymond stayed on the phone with a mother who was trapped in an apartment fire with her children. The stairs were blocked by fire and she was unable to get out. Audrey gave her life-saving instructions on how to put wet towels under the door to remain calm so that her children stayed calm. She stayed on the phone with her until the firefighters came to the window, and you can hear on the recording her handing her children to the firemen. Yet another dispatcher, Marcy Wentworth, spent time on 911 with a mother who was hiding with one of her children as an armed home invader within her home. She asked questions, gathered information, and got help on the way. When the intruder came into the room that the mother was hiding with her child, Marcy was quick thinking. She had her answer questions by pushing buttons on her phone so the intruder would not be alerted to where she was hiding. I could stand here today and tell you stories of calls where dispatchers have made an impact on the health and safety of police officers, firefighters, and citizens, often with little or no recognition for what they've done. You see, dispatchers are the last to seek recognition. They hardly ever tell us when they do something that's extraordinary. Most of the time we find it out when we pull tapes, listen to things, and do quality assurance. I heard once dispatchers heralded as the first responders. I say to you that is more true than you will ever know. We are there immediately, starting life-saving intervention that truly does have an impact. We must remain stoic and unemotional while giving these instructions. But I can tell you there's not a dispatcher here who has not hung up a phone and shed a tear. Almost every one of them could probably tell you a call that has stuck with them since they took it. I have worked in the Communications Center since 1999, beginning first as a communications specialist. I have seen numerous people come and go and leave to go to centers that pay far more than what we pay for much less work. I believe that making the pay commensurate with other agencies our size will help aid us in hiring and retaining the best and the brightest. In closing, I want to thank all of you for the opportunity to speak with you today and to leave you with this thought. Many people would say that being a communications specialist is just a job. I would say to you that for most of us that are called to do this job, some for 37 years, it is much more than a job. It is that feeling that you get when you hang up your headset at the end of a long day and you think, I made a difference in someone's life. Thank you.
Good evening, council members. My name is Steve Wooden, and I'm the past president of the FOP. I work out of the Central Fire Station, or Police Station. Excuse me. I'm speaking on behalf of the FOP for President Demler. I have a unique experience of starting my career as a dispatcher for 3.5 years, and I echo the sentiments that Diana Scott said goes on. They are the unsung heroes. They take calls. They are in a room for 8 hours a day with 2 small windows. They don't really know what's going on the street. They can't see what's going on. They have to rely on the radio. They have to rely on the telephone. They give life-saving instructions. I don't know how many numerous people have been saved in this community because of the CPR instructions and the emergency medical dispatch that these people do on a daily basis and the training they go through. And as part of that, the FOP is supporting and asking you to pass this ordinance. As Diana Scott said, even back in late 80s when I was there, we had people leaving. I remember one dispatcher leaving for Fort Wayne, one leaving for Elkhart, because they paid more money. And that's something that I think really needs to be addressed. And I'm sorry it's taken this long. The other thing is the training that goes into this position. Just like a firefighter or a police officer or many professions, once you get the training, that's the tip of the iceberg. It's not the experience. And to be able to retain these people and their experience, I think, is very important to the city of South Bend and the citizens it serves. And I would ask you to please pass this ordinance. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else present wishing to speak in support of Bill 07-13? Seeing no one, is there anyone present wishing to speak in opposition? Again, I see no one. The public hearing portion is now closed. We'll move to council discussion. I will start with Councilmember Gavin Furlick, and we'll go directly down the road. Okay. Councilmember Oliver Davis.
Yes, thank you, Councilwoman White. 2 things. First of all, for the first part of it, with the 911 operators, I want to commend them for their challenges and issues that they have to go through. I've never been a 911 person in terms of employee, but I was a crisis hotline counselor for 4 years. I'm in my training and working on a crisis hotline where I work with suicides, people calling in, working with folk who are in need of housing, need of domestic violence issues, and being in that kind of role for 4 years of my life. I really appreciate those who work on 911 lines, because when you pick up the phone, you never know what you're going to pick up, and it's amazing how much your words can keep somebody alive. And so I really appreciate that, and I fully support that. With respect to the second part regarding the community resource, my advice would be to the administration, with all due respect to the new person that you're looking at hiring, being able to work with the underrepresented parts of the community, I'm always a little cautious. I'm going to go ahead and vote for that. I've been back and forth on that. Ms. Shane, I've talked to her. I've talked to everybody else on here. It's been interesting. The reason I was cautious about it is I really have concerns. If it seemed to me, and I understand the need because of the diversity of the office, it seemed to me that the person could possibly be somebody who is of Hispanic descent or African American descent that possibly could be in that position. I really hope that while I can see a need for them to be able to reach out to our very diverse community, which is a diverse, and we pushed you a lot on that issue, I do not want them to be put into a position where the new person only works with only African Americans and only Hispanics. I was hired into a position myself once, and the only thing that people wanted me to be able to work with was African Americans. I talked to my supervisor and I said, with all due respect, I can work with African Americans but I do not want to just reach out to only African Americans. I want to work with all populations. And I'm always concerned when a position like this comes apart that they are just targeted to only go to parts of the 2nd district, the 6th district, and the 4th district. And if there's an event in Notre Dame or there's an event on the east side, that you may send another representative from the office and not that person. And that's my caution with that. Okay, we definitely do need to have a diverse workforce and a diverse administration. But I just want to make sure that that person has equal access to going to every single issue, just like anybody else in your office would go to. And the last piece on that is that, again, we need to see you sometimes too. I hope that this does not, I don't want this to be a buffer between this person and the mayor, because there are different times in our last situation, and I want to thank you for everything with New Energy coming up. We'll thank you about that a little later, but really want to thank you now. But I just don't want it to be, with all due respect to our chiefs of staff, people voted for you, the mayor. And with all due respect to community resources, chief of staff, to anybody else, there are times when they want to just see you, whether or not we have a solution or not, whether or not we have a great idea or not. Just to see you. And it's like when I walk in someone's homes, just to say, hey, we're in this crisis together. So I do not want this person to be put in front of you, and I don't want to be just sent only to Hispanics or only to African Americans. Send them to everybody. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Varner?
No, ma'am. Thank you.
Councilmember?
I'll defer after Mr. Scott.
You can't do that.
I can.
Councilmember Scott?
Pardon?
I'm going straight down the row. Councilmember Furley?
I commend the administration for on the communication workers making their salaries equal to other cities in the area. I have more of a problem with the community outreach officer. I'm not sure that's another full-time equivalent that we need. I'm not sure that the council members shouldn't serve in that capacity, and we should communicate with you or your staff. I don't think it'll add that much, and I think the money can be spent elsewhere. I think we have more priorities in the city. Just as an aside, I see your staff here, and they're all wonderful people. I like them, but I think their time could be better spent at their office tonight than standing here. You know, so as far as efficiency and effectiveness, I think I think we could do better. But I will defer to Karen White, who states that we should at least give it a one-year try, and so I will vote for this.
Councilmember Shea?
Sure. Well,
I too am in full support of providing our 911 dispatchers the salaries that they deserve. That's an incredibly stressful job, and I thank you all for doing what you do. My concern with this bill, without the amendment that I had proposed earlier, is the additional staffing that we're adding to the payroll here. And my concern is that we do have a director of communications position that's already created and funded, but currently unfilled. I had suggested that we first seek to fill that position, give the 311 line a little bit of time to see how that might be able to reduce the burden on the mayor's team before we move forward with this bill as it is written. However, the amendment, as you all know, did not pass, and I do not want to keep our 911 dispatchers hanging in the balance, so I will vote in support of this bill. However, I need to say that I am not pleased that we're moving forward with creating more positions when there's a position that is already in the mayor's office, unfilled and budgeted for. So I will vote in favor. I don't want to keep the dispatchers hanging in the balance, but as I had said earlier, I would have liked to have seen the bill amended. Thank you, Councilmember. Thank you. Councilmember Henry Davis.
Great, thank you so much. I second that motion with Valerie to pull that position out there. During the time of negotiations and budget time, there was a conversation that was had on WNDU about the budget, and 100% of it getting passed, only 95% of it got passed, and 5%. And so the administration won out, you won out. And I applaud you. You worked the system, you got what you needed. You report barreled it, as they call it in Congress, and you won. But my issue is at this point, and as we continue to move forward, of all the things that took place last year, and that we're still existing right now, the only thing that I've noticed is that you have raised salaries, you demolish homes, you propose rate increases, you spend money on studies, and you hire more folks. We need jobs in this city. We need jobs in this city. We need jobs in this city. I don't know how this is going to get us to employment. Those who are employed are making more money. I'm not going to stay in the way of those who need more money to take care of their homes. However, I am very unhappy with the constant way of doing business here in South Bend as you do it. I think it's unfair. I think it continues to polarize the community. And I think that we have not done what we were supposed to be doing. We've argued since day one. Day one, and we're here again with the same stuff. And at the end of the day, we're still not getting the gain that we need. Businesses are leaving. We're pushing businesses out. Homes are being demolished so people can't populate areas that need to be populated. Thus, services go down. At this juncture, I am really interested in you gave a great economic forecast for us. I will be pulling either a resolution, a letter, or a bill to rescind the lower tax increase that we did 2 years ago, because clearly we have too much money. Let's give some relief back to the taxpayers. And if we can do that, then we will have an opportunity to start looking at the budget the way it's supposed to. So if you get what you want tonight, congratulations. But I will be making sure that we begin to talk about the lower tax increase and give these folks out here some relief.
Thank you. Councilmember Tim Scott.
Thank you, Chairman White. I just want to say to the 911 workers, thank you so much for what you do and all your service. Diana Scott, it was a pleasure meeting you this summer and kind of educating me on what's going on. Incredible what you do, and thank you for the service. Mayor, it's your management team, do as you see fit. What I would suggest that you look at all the other positions and please fill them so we can have city running at full efficiency. So That's all I have to say.
Councilmember.
Thank you, Chairperson, Committee of the Whole Chair, Karen White. First, I'll address the dispatchers, 911 people, everybody works inside. I've got the unique privilege of actually, before Steve Noonan, as a cadet in 1975, we dispatched cadets using dispatch cards that were handwritten, case stamped, arrest stamped, so on and so forth, which is old school. But the things that everyone alluded to, that the 911 people and everybody answers the phones, of the hundreds of thousands of dispatches, it's probably quadruple of the calls that come in, and until you've been there and answered emergency calls where people are dying on the phone, when you've dispatched, when policemen are being shot on the street, to everything that they do with, like Steve said, within the confines of almost like a pillbox. It's a very unique, very stressful job that people have. And over the years and years that I've been there, they listen to the calls. They listen to officers on the radio who sometimes can be very annoying when they talk. So it's, again, I appreciate the people bringing that to the council's attention. I appreciate Mark Neal and listening to him, because that doesn't happen very often when there's an issue like that. So I commend everybody that worked on that. I think it's well deserved. Again, my own opinion, I think they're worth more than the 311 operators, because it's night and day of the job, the stress of someone's life in jeopardy, or whether my trash can got delivered or trash picked up or whatever. But that's, as they say, a conversation for another day. Regarding to the person, I made my opinion known. This came to the council last year under the mayor's budget, and he pulled it off from the council, I think, of rethinking how they wanted to present this, what they wanted to do with it. Again, it's the mayor's choice. We have an option of voting or not voting for it. Again, I will give the administration the opportunity to see that this job is needed. If in the end, if it doesn't work out, or all the money that will go into it didn't serve the citizens, that's something this council can look into next year when the budget comes up, or the beginning, end of this year for next year. So again, at this point, for my 2 cents as it would, I will give the opportunity for that job to be fulfilled. I think that one of the things that we talked about is the other jobs that have not been filled yet, and I think Fred and Valerie had good points of maybe combining some of that until we get to that. But again, this is the mayor's wish. We'll give him a chance to see if it works, and if it doesn't, we have the opportunity again next year to revisit that. So.
Thank you. I would like to also thank the staff of the 911 team for the work that you do, the work that you continue to do on behalf of our citizens and the city of South Bend. We do know that it's very demanding work, and hopefully by the action that this council will take this evening will show you our support of the work that you continue to do for the city of South Bend. Hopefully you have the technology that you need in order to continue to do the work that is before you. I would ask the administration that you come back before the council very shortly to give us an update on any open positions. I think that we need to bring closure to those positions as we prepare for the budget process. Likewise, what I shared in the committee meeting this afternoon, there are current positions that we have within the city in which the salary gaps are not decreasing. The gap is becoming wider as we bring new staff members on. Of course, the market rate is at this point. You have staff members who've been here for quite some time. When you begin to look at 1% and 2%, it's going to become much wider. So hopefully when we start the budget process, there has to be some discussion in regards to how we're going to address employees who've been with the city for quite some time, who are doing outstanding work, but the salary gaps are becoming much wider than what they are at this particular time. Hopefully the administration has heard the concerns about the position. I would challenge you to make sure that you communicate very early on directly to the council as you move forward to filling this position, and the need for this position should be clearly articulated along with visual outcomes so that the council can have assurance that the position that we'll be taking action on this evening will meet the needs of the total community as well as the different populations that the mayor you have shared with us this evening. At this time, I would like to entertain a motion.
Move for favorable recommendation. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor of the motion, may I hear your vote? Aye. Those opposed? The motion carries. At this time, we'd like to entertain a motion to resolve from the committee of the whole.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor of the motion? Aye. Those opposed? The motion carries.
Thank you. Full council now in session, 43rd on 7/13.
Third reading on a bill of the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana, amending the maximum salary and wages of certain non-bargaining employees of the City of South Bend, Indiana for calendar year 2013 and appropriating $237,417 from General Fund Number 101.
Motion.
Motion for the passage.
Second.
Second.
Thank you. Clerk Forty.
Mr. Scott.
Aye.
Mr. Henry Davis.
Aye.
Mrs. Shea.
Aye.
Dr. Furlick.
Aye.
Dr. Warner. Aye. Vice President Davis. Aye. Councilmember White.
Aye.
Mr. Furlick.
Aye.
President Dieter.
Aye.
9 ayes.
Thank you very much. Proceed to Resolution 1315, please.
A resolution of the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana, requesting that local meetings be held by our U.S. Senators and U.S. House of Representatives so that there are opportunities to hear firsthand comments on how to improve our immigration system.
Thank you very much. And we have a committee report on this.
Thank you. Community Relations Committee met this afternoon, and they bring this report to the full council with a favorable report.
Thank you.
One second.
Un momento.
Sí.
I can do that. You get that, Aaron? Un momento. Un poquito.
Okay. We will not translate the whole part of it, but we will translate one piece of it. And as I read it, we will have Ms. Jesus Rivera read it. I'm Oliver Davis, the 6th District Councilman. I live at 1801 Nash Street, South Bend, Indiana. And it's an honor to bring this resolution tonight. And I'm thankful for our council members for working along with this resolution as well as with our mayor. I'll read it. A resolution of the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana, requesting that local meetings be held by our U.S. Senators and U.S. House of Representatives so that there are opportunities to hear firsthand comments on how to improve our immigration system. Whereas the South Bend Common Council notes that on March 26, 2009, former U.S. Senator Richard Lugar introduced the DREAM Act, which he co-sponsored with U.S. Senator Dick Durbin. That was a bipartisan proposal to provide an opportunity for students to earn legal status while continuing their education and pursuing careers in the United States, which then had the support of presidents of Indiana University, Purdue University, and the University of Notre Dame. And whereas on January 17, 2013, Senator Durbin noted that 3 Republicans and 3 Democrat U.S. Senators were working to develop a bipartisan immigration reform plan which would be comprehensive and would include a pathway to citizenship. And whereas President Obama is working on an immigration plan which has 4 principles: continuing to strengthen border security, streamlining legal immigration, earn citizenship, and cracking down on employers hiring undocumented workers, which are further addressed at www.whitehouse.gov issues immigration. And whereas many local individuals within South Bend and organizations such as Transforming Action Through Power, TAP, a Gamil affiliate who works with the public to become a positive force for change, have stepped up to voice their support of a Dream for All campaign which proactively encourages immigration changes. And
lo voy a traducir en español. Como muchos locales individuales en la ciudad de South Bend y organizaciones como Transformando Acción a través del Poder, un afiliado de Gamaliel trabaja con el público para hacer una positiva fuerza para hacer cambio y tomar pasos para ser la voz en soporte de una campaña del sueño para todos, para mover la inmigración, para hacer el movimiento para los cambios inmigratorios.
Whereas in light of the approximate 11 million undocumented immigrants living in the United States and the ongoing discussions taking place at the federal executive and legislative level, our elected office officials and their staff should consider hosting meetings on this important issue. Now therefore be resolved by the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana as follows. Section 1. The South Bend Common Council recognizes that over the next several weeks, very important discussions will be taking place in Washington, D.C. on the topic of immigration. Section 2. The Common Council believes that since immigration is addressed at the federal level, that U.S. Senator Dan Coates, U.S. Senator Joe Donnelly, and U.S. House Representative Jackie Walorski should host local forums so that they can hear from South Bend residents firsthand before casting their votes. Therefore, in the spirit of transparency, openness, and good government, the Common Council requests that a copy of this resolution then be sent to each of our duly elected officials, federal officials serving in the U.S. Senate and in the U.S. House of Representatives, so that public meetings can be held in South Bend. In this way, comments and needed dialogue can take place so that the best possible legislation, which is fair and equitable, can be achieved through this collaborative process. Section 3. This resolution shall be in full force and effect from and after its adoption by the council and approved by the mayor, with offices of the city clerk sending a copy to each of the federal elected officials listed therein, Section 2 herein. And again, we want to emphasize that each one of our elected federal officials will receive this copy of this and be encouraged to hold forums. I would definitely welcome them to come over to the 6th District, or we can have them, I'm sure, in any of your places that you can have around the city, because this forums are definitely needed as this legislation takes center stage in our country and over the next 8 weeks.
All right, thank you. Anyone like to speak in favor of 1315? If anyone's in favor, just step up and get in line there. We need your name and address for the record.
My name is Ramona Tiara Smedley, 536 Widener Lane. I am a Board of Director member for Transforming Action Through Power, TAP. I'm also a local business owner, and I'm new back in the South Bend area in the last 3 years. United as one, we stand. Together, we fill these seats, we fill our cities, we fill this country. Mother, father, sister, brother, we sit side by side. Black, white, red, yellow, business owner, local leaders, clergy. We are all workers, documented or undocumented. U.S. citizen or hopeful candidate for U.S. citizen. It matters not how we stand on U.S. soil. Collectively, whether citizen or non-citizen, we pay taxes. We pay into the school systems. We obey laws. We work as a team, helping neighbors. We build the U.S. economy. Many of us today, we're here by force or by fire from yesteryear or for 2013. We stand on U.S. soil. We urge you, our elected officials, we ask that you stand with us as we push for immigration reform, indivisible with justice for all. Thank you.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Kathy, five apiece.
Good evening. My name is Tony Flora. I reside at 202 East Angela here in South Bend. But I'm here not solely as a resident. I'm here in my capacity as president of the North Central Indiana AFL-CIO. I'm here because the AFL-CIO and the entire labor movement is joining with community allies across this country to finally bring comprehensive immigration reform throughout our land. We have among us tonight many people who are not with us. In America, we have 11 million people who are part of our everyday lives, part of our communities, but they're not part of our democracy. They're not part of our economic life because they have no voice. Tonight we see people holding up pieces of paper to be their voice. This is the first step in our community to get to an immigration reform that will bring our country together so that we all have voices, we all work together, because we will all rise together. And when we live in a country in which there are 11 million people who are consigned to a second-class life with no democratic voice, with no way of standing up for themselves in the workplace, then we are a lesser America, and we're all failing. I'm not here tonight to discuss the ins and outs of immigration reform. I'm sure there's going to be long, interesting discussions. This is a beautiful idea for South Bend to open up that discussion. And if I may approach, what I would like to do is present to the members of the council a copy of the resolution which we passed 2 weeks ago at the Labor Council.
All right, thank you.
Hello, my name is Wendy Winters, Associate Pastor of Emmanuel Church, and I'm here on behalf of my brothers and my sisters. You know, I was just thinking about everybody has to have something to govern their life by. So I'm reminded of a scripture, Leviticus, the 19th chapter. It goes on to say, and if a stranger sojourns with thee in your land, ye shall not vex him or oppress him. But the stranger that dwelleth with you shall be unto you as one born among you. And thou shalt love him as thyself. There shall ye observe all my statutes and all my judgments, and do them. I am the Lord. And I believe as soon as we come to grips with what the Lord has said, we all shall find justice for each other. All we're asking for is justice. We're standing for justice. We're not going to quit until we get justice.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good evening. Buenas noches. My name is Joseph Alvarez. I reside at 2733 Corby Boulevard here in South Bend, Indiana. And I'd just like to state the fact that as a proud Hispanic veteran that served the United States Air Force during the Vietnam era, I also participated as a local member of our labor community who, although retired from AT&T after 25 years of service, still hold an active position with CWA, Communication Workers of America, in addition as a volunteer to the St. Joe Valley Jobs for Justice. I'm here to state and fully support the AFL-CIO position on immigration reform in an attempt to come up with a clear path to citizenship. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Hello. All right. My name is Cedric Strickland. I'm currently a City of South Bend resident and Boy Scout of America. I'm an Eagle Scout. I live at 718 South Bend Avenue, South Bend, Indiana. I came to South Bend, Indiana 4 years ago to attend the University of Notre Dame. Unlike many students, I was very interested in not just exploring what Notre Dame had to offer, but what all South Bend had to offer. In doing so, I was amazed. South Bend is home to many people with many different backgrounds. While here I've met engineers, scientists, lawyers, students, teachers, restaurant owners, bank tellers, volunteers, and many people I now call my friends. These people are hard-working contributors to the lives of many, including myself. Many of them just so happen to have immigrated to South Bend from places all around the world, including Japan, Brazil, Nigeria, Nicaragua, Ireland, Israel, and Australia. Another professor worked with one of these friends of mine, and he said that this man was one of the best computer science PhD researchers he had ever worked with. Due to immigration issues, this amazing engineer had to return to Slovakia, his home country, and stopped contributing to this magnificent country of America. And I was forced to say goodbye to a good friend. Many people think that when you talk about immigration reform, it means giving benefits and money to people who don't deserve it. However, this is far from the truth. The undocumented immigrants that I've met are college-educated, overachievers, small business owners, community leaders, and have been able to overcome tremendous hurdles to survive in this country. They are hardworking taxpayers family men and women, innocent children with great potential, veterans who have fought for this country, job creators, and some of the most important people in my life. All they ask is the right to be welcomed by America, the place they call home. I can confidently tell you today that these people are Americans by all measures aside from birthplace, and they deserve citizenship. South Bend needs to be in their corner, and I support this resolution.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Antoine Mason. I am a senior undergraduate student studying computer science and Japanese at the University of Notre Dame. I currently reside at 718 South Bend Avenue. If there is one thing that everyone could agree on, it would be that our economy should be as strong as possible. Yet we are economically shooting ourselves in the foot by our current immigration policies. According to an Iowa Policy Project report of 2007, undocumented immigrants pay an estimate of $40 million to $62 million in state taxes. According to a 2002 study by the Center for Urban Economic Development at the University of Chicago, undocumented immigrants in the Chicago metropolitan area spent $2.89 billion in 2001, which supported 31,908 jobs in the local economy. These trends can also be seen in my home, Indiana. Thus, in deporting undocumented immigrants, we deprive both our state and private sectors of a significant source of revenue. We take these individuals and train their young. Meanwhile, they bolster our public and private sector. Instead of providing them a well-deserved pathway to citizenship, we tighten regulations and make it harder and harder for them to help us. We make it harder for them to give us money. And as for their children, we throw away a prime source of educated, skilled labor. Because I want to make our economy as strong as possible, I support this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Joe Carbone. I'm the chairperson of St. Joe Valley Jobs with Justice, and I live in Osceola, Indiana, 56523 Eastview. And I recognize quite a few of you up here at the council. We've had some relations over the past. I'm here to speak in favor of the resolution. And one of your councilmen was in April 4th of 2010 when we did the immigration rally here in town. We were thankful for the police department for their help in getting us down to the Morris safely. So thank you, President Peter. But what we're really asking for is that you support Councilman Doc Davis's resolution. That what we want is just the ability to speak to our our representatives who we all voted for. We may or may not have voted for either one, Dan Coates or Joe Donnelly, but I think it gives our citizens of South Bend the opportunity to speak to their representatives, or at least be able to get their voices heard. So I'm speaking on behalf that, we want that opportunity, and I think coming from the City Council and you being the host would be a great community event. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, sir.
My name is Jesus Rivera, and I'm at 1632 West Indiana, and I'm speaking in favor of the resolution. Thank you very much for recognizing that this resolution needs to be presented within the City of South Bend. There needs to be deeper discussions as we move forward, and as I was listening to part of even the earlier discussion, moving the City of South Bend forward, we have to become part of that. We are a segment of the large population in South Bend. We make up what South Bend is. So let's move this together. Let's move forward together. So I'm going to ask that, and we can follow up later, that the City Council members and our mayor as well put together a town hall meeting, bringing together Jackie Walorski, Senator Coates, and Senator Donnelly as a discussion for South Bend to move us forward.
All right, thank you. Anyone else like to speak in favor? Now opposition? Council may have recommendation.
Will this be adopted?
Second.
We have motion to second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? Thank you.
So roll call, sir.
Roll call. Clerk Vorty.
Mr. Henry Davis.
Aye.
Mrs. Shea.
Aye.
Dr. Furlick. Dr. Varner. Aye. Vice President Davis. Aye. Councilmember White.
Aye.
Mr. Furlick. Aye. Mr. Scott.
Aye.
President Peter. 9 ayes.
1317, please.
A resolution of the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana, approving the issuance of scrap metal/junk dealer/recycling operation licenses for calendar year 2013 pursuant to Section 4-51 of the South Bend Municipal Code.
Do we need a motion to hear the substitute?
Yes. So moved.
Second.
We have a motion to second. All in favor of that?
Aye.
Any opposition? Now, we have a committee report.
Oh, 1 second.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Buenos dias, senores.
Personnel finance.
I was letting attend. The Personnel Finance Committee was chaired by my Vice Chair, Ms. White, so she will give it up.
The Personnel and Finance Committee held a committee meeting on Substitute Bill 1317. We sent this bill to the full council with a favorable recommendation.
Thank you. Clerk Vorty, you're presenting?
I could do that.
Do it right there. Just sit right there, Jeff.
Okay. On an annual basis, those who hold these type of licenses apply for renewal. Our office provides the intake points, and then we disseminate them to all the different city departments that need to make inspections and either sign off as approved, meeting the requirements or not. In every case but two, these licenses, they passed muster. Two of them did not. One was because of code violation, and the other was because of fire department shortcoming of some kind. In both cases, in the case where the fire department is coming in, that'll be by March 7th. Whatever they found had to be corrected by then. And if so, they would be ready to be granted. The other one is much like a code violation that you might get at your home on your own property, where you meet with neighborhood code enforcement. They say that they give you a date certain that it has to be corrected. You may appeal for an extension if that is valid as ruled by neighborhood code enforcement. I imagine that's negotiated on an individual basis. But in this case, it's between that applicant and neighborhood code enforcement. When that's done, it'll be sent to our office, and we will forward it on to you for either approval or not.
Very good. Thank you very much. Anyone like to speak in favor of this? Opposition? Council?
Move to approve.
Passage.
Second. We have a second on that.
To adopt.
To adopt that. Clerk Vorty.
Mrs. Shea.
Aye.
Dr. Furlick. Aye. Dr. Varner. Aye. Vice President Davis. Aye. Councilmember White.
Aye.
Mr. Furlick. Aye. Mr. Scott.
Aye.
Mr. Henry Davis.
Aye.
And President Duke.
Aye.
9 ayes.
Thank you. May I have a motion to continue 1318 indefinitely?
So moved. Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? Proceed to first reading of 813, please.
First reading on a bill of the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana, amending Chapter 14 of the South Bend Municipal Code by the inclusion of new Article 11 entitled Block Party Regulations.
May I have a motion to send this to Public Works and Property Vacation?
So moved.
Second. Finished. Second, third reading on 3/11/13.
So moved.
Second.
All right, all in favor of that?
Aye.
Any opposition? Thank you. Unfinished business. May I have a motion for Bill 1316? To go to
Bill
Z.
1316 goes to the zoning annexation for second and third reading on 3/11/2013.
Second.
A motion second, all in favor? Aye. Any opposition? Thank you. Now, may I have a motion on the confirming abatement?
Move that confirming the tax abatement be sent to CID for March 11th.
CNA.
He knows what he's doing. We have a motion, do we have a second? Second. All right, a motion second, all in favor? Aye. Any opposition? Thank you, we've got it. Any other unfinished business? Councilmember Henry.
Thank you, sir. You know, I got something to say. Look, you know, I'm a bit perplexed. I'm a bit sad as well. My comments earlier about this past year, what this city has gone through and what we have gone through with the firing or rehiring, demotion of Chief Watkins, and just the polarization of this community. I am not thrilled by one bit of what has taken place, and nor am I ecstatic or resolved in what has taken place with the new hiring of a new police chief, as well as the new communications director. The city of South Bend and the minority community, the whole entire community was separated. We were hurt, and we were sent to a place that we've never been before. And as of right now, it feels to me, and I'm just stuck there, to me it feels like that we're just moving on. It was another course of action another day. While all the way we're looking at employees who could have been part of this tape scandal, spelled out names in newspapers looking at promotions. While members of the community that pay the wages of those folks are feeling sidelined, stepped on, and not a part anymore. I'm still stuck there. I can't move on. And this community cannot move on until those matters and those issues are resolved. We can continue to play with it's in the courts. The Department of Justice needs to rule on it, and this law, that law, every law. Regardless of how that plays out, we are still in control of our city workforce and employee base. And we have the ability not to allow people to move further in positions, receive raises, or to even exist as an employee based upon what has taken place. I don't know what the issue is, but again, the issue to me is that so much took place in a one-year time period that polarized this community like never before. It almost took us back to the 1940s. And I'm not happy. And I think that we need to look at a better way of doing business and correcting a lot of those things that took place in 2012. Nothing against Chief Cheechman. I don't know him personally. I don't know what his work is going to be like. I just don't like the presentation and how he was brought in. It was on the cusp of what took place and what we're still feeling the effects from. And that's just my 2 cents. Thank you.
Okay. If I could, just to make sure that we're not going to let some of that get to you in a second, the things that were brought up, I guess, for our action items, I want to make sure under unfinished business we're going to follow up. One, Councilman Davis had asked for a breakdown of city personnel, race, gender, and then the positions of leadership that they're in. And the other thing, I think, was an update on the Jersey Mikes and other communication dealing with that.
That's what we're going to do in this council meeting, hopefully, and I don't know when those numbers are going to come back for the city employee base.
And number 3 was the block party. How many have...
Okay.
Yes,
so we will stay on those, and we will get those to the appropriate committees when we get to that. I've got new business, but any other old business?
Old?
Like old?
In terms of just new energy plant, I wanted to thank the administration for turning on the pumps since our last meeting out there at in the home care, the new energy plant. We want to continue to look for long-term solutions, and I appreciate the statements today from Public Works Director Eric Horvath regarding the issues that the farmers are raising, regarding their concerns,
and it was noted by our Public Works Director that, as he shared with us today, that should not be an issue in terms of, well, not should be an issue, but it's not. The issues that they have are in some ways addressed. And so, because there's only a certain amount of water that's being filled up in that area. I went out there myself this afternoon to take a look at where everything is out there, and you can really see where the water flows. And it makes a lot of sense. So I'm glad that he's addressing and having this meeting this coming Wednesday with the farmers to address their concerns, because I really think that once they hear that presentation, that everything should be okay from that, because it's a much better deal. But again, we have to deal with what's coming up on Wednesday with the court, bankruptcy courts and everything else. So I'm very thankful on that. Also, we had a whistleblower issue, and that I spoke before the Board of Public Safety. And if our council attorney should just share briefly what she shared this afternoon regarding that.
I met with the interim city attorney last Thursday. And the legal department is going to be looking at a recent case handed down by the U.S. District Court in the Southern District of Indiana that involved a police department on this very issue, as well as the pending legislation that is currently pending in the Judiciary Committee of the Indiana General Assembly. So based on that research, before the Board of Public Safety takes any formal action on whistleblower action for both police and fire sworn officers and firefighters, that research will be done first. That research will be done first before any formal action takes place by the board.
Thank you. And the last piece, this council voted back in January on Vice President Koufax to honor him on March 23rd, 2013. You will be receiving an email later on this week regarding that and the resolution. So please keep March the 23rd on a Saturday at 3 o'clock that afternoon on your calendars. And so that will be sent to you this week. We'll be contacting the administration regarding that and all of you. March 23rd, which is a Saturday afternoon. So you'll be hearing from that. This is later on. I'm done.
Cool. Also, in regards to the whistleblower, I'm making a recommendation that our council attorney gets a hold of FOP 36 and Local 362 to meet probably with the presidents of those respective organizations along with the executive board to get their input and opinion regarding the whistleblowing for that. Any other old business? Under new business, I was able to attend a school safety seminar last Friday along with Lieutenant Joe Galea back there, Captain Scott Ruskowski, Chief Gary Orvat, and probably another 35 to 40 members of the South Bend Police Department. There were probably 400 plus people talking basically about school safety, and I will commend under Karen White's committee, Health and Public Safety. You hate to say ahead of the curve, but we met about this earlier or late last year, early this year with Chief Boykins, Captain Boykins and Lieutenant Crittenden on their plan for the schools. We'll keep everybody informed on that. They're going to give us an update probably another couple weeks on the council's input into that. So again, commend everybody that attended that, and we'll keep everybody advised. Now, privilege of the floor. New business, you have something?
New business. I just wanted to encourage all the council members when we go to neighborhood meetings or meet with people or anything like that to either send your pictures to Tim or myself or put them on Facebook. I'm still trying to get yours off my computer. I need some help tonight. I'm send me some pictures off my thing. But so we can put them on our Facebook website, and that way we can keep a chronicle list of at least something of the different activities that we're doing. Because all of us are going to different places. I really enjoyed coming out on Saturday to the NNN. Tim, I think you did an excellent job with your presentation, so that was really good, and I enjoyed being there. Great turnout Saturday morning, especially for Saturday morning, and the Charles Martin was full, so great job on that.
You want to say something, Tim?
Yes,
fire away.
I want to thank you, President Dieter and Vice President Oliver Davis, and Ms. White.
Karen White.
For coming out to the annual meeting, and all the city officials that showed up, and Catherine LaRusse for speaking on the mayor's behalf. Thank you for that. So it was a very good event. Mr. Teachman was there, John Broden, Dave Thomas. So it was a very good event, and thanks for everybody for coming out.
And in regards to the city council Facebook page, you're able to tell us we've had how many hits, likes? Dave Thomas. A lot. So everybody keep those cards and letters coming in, as they say. Privilege of the floor. Anybody wants to speak to us at this time about something that we did not cover tonight, you may do so. You will have up to 3 minutes. If there is something specific that you want us to follow up, you need to fill out a form. If you just want to come up here and talk, that's fine. But if you're up there to say something that you want us to follow up, you need to fill out a piece of paper, and then we will through committee. Go.
My name is Samuel Brown. I represent Citizens United for Better Government. One of the councilmen stated this evening that he wasn't very happy with the way things are going in the community. Don't feel bad, I'm one of them too. But I do know this. We have a shrewd mayor. I got to give him his credit. Very shrewd. Making sure that proper legal work get in the right courts. But that ain't going to stop things. What's going to save our city is 4 people going to come together and say enough is enough. That's where it starts at. It's not his fault. It's our fault. The people that got the big money that's controlling the city, and it ain't a lot of them, but they got a lot of money and they controlling the city. But don't worry about that. They sent us around a book that a lion will lay up on a mountain with sheep, and this will come true. The people of South Bend is going to be heard. I'm not worried about them tapes. They're going to be heard eventually. And everybody worried about the tapes. And, you know, there's a lot of things that's happening in our city. And it started with you guys, though. You guys can make a difference. Just don't give up. Because I'm not going to give up. There's a lot of people that are down right now. You know, they don't know what to do. But you got to keep fighting, though. You got to keep bleeding. We got a beautiful city. I don't know why Teachman's here. You have to ask your mayor, you know. But I really feel we had good people on that police department to lead us. It was his decision, and we got to accept it. But we ain't got to live with it, because this election coming. Just like we got a sheriff election coming. And money boys are coming with the big money bags.
1 minute.
And I'm going to say this. We got to be careful what we're doing. Because they're going to try to buy that too. And we'll be out there fighting against them. Because right is right and wrong is wrong. So just don't give up. You guys got a lot of power to not stick together and using it. I'm not mad at the mayor. I think he's a very shrewd businessman. I would like to have him on my side, but we're on different sides.
All right, thank you. Anyone else like to speak to us? Anybody else that wants to speak, you should just jump up there and get in line.
Thank you for having me today. My name is Bill Sykes. I live at 18927 Darling Road in Clay Township. First of all, I just want to reiterate that we're very grateful that we do have a new modern facility to house our homeless animals. And we all really appreciate what you've done this past year as far as appropriating funds to have that building built. Unfortunately, though, the policy of discrimination that has not changed, and it has followed some of the dogs from the old facility to the new facility. This discrimination has followed these dogs that look like and are considered pit bull type dogs, and it denies them the chance at adoption. The stigma of the pit bull as a ruthless killing machine, exaggerated by media hype and one-sided news accounts, coupled as a perceived liability to the city, makes going to the pound for these dogs a death sentence here in South Bend and St. Joe County. But, and thankfully so, not all cities in Indiana share this bias. The three largest cities in Indiana, population-wise, do not have language in their ordinances that condemn the pit bull. In fact, they state that the breed does not constitute a factor in determining a dangerous dog. Clearly stated, breed is not a determining factor in determining a dangerous dog. Evansville, Fort Wayne, in our state capital, Indianapolis, even advertise pit bulls on their website for adoption. I want to say that in future meetings, because we are all going to be here again, that I have examples. I have examples of several dogs that were headed for animal control or the Humane Society, but were lucky enough to take a detour and are now in homes that include children, teens, other pets, and the elderly. Not all dogs will meet the criteria it takes to be put up for adoption, just as not all applicants will meet the standards of what it takes to be a pet responsible person. But the fact that we are giving them a chance is a chance they deserve. In closing, today, now, the time is right to finally come together to begin work on developing a new policy of the right to adoption for every dog, no matter what the breed. South Bend can join the ranks of Fort Wayne, Evansville, Indianapolis, and other cities in the region and throughout the United States in becoming examples of compassion and tolerance toward what can best be described as man's best friend. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. All right. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Peggy Tomkowitz. I live at 2801 West Calvert Street, ethanol plant area. I'd like to know if we could get a letter of the residents of the area as to what is going on at this point in time. We know that a pump was turned on. We do appreciate that. It's given us some relief, but we're also concerned about the future, what's going to happen later in time. I understand there's some type of contract between the new owners of the facility and the city to keep the pump running, and I think that should be made public to the residents who have a concern with the matter. I'd like to know what the alternative plan will be if we do not find another owner for the ethanol plant. Something needs to be put in place for the residents. And I'd like to know how long the city is going to hold out for a new owner for the plant. I mean, we can look a year down the road, get us through the spring, and we have a water issue next year. I know the city doesn't have $10,000 a month to continue to pour into keeping one pump running, and I think the residents in the city need to work together to come up with something positive, something long-term, if we cannot find another owner for that plant. And I think that the city needs to keep a good communication going with the residents so we know what's going on. Some of the area people did not even know the pump was started, and it's been 2 weeks. And then I'd like to know if all else fails, what are we going to do with all the empty homes if the area has to relocate? If we abandon these homes that are 13 years old, 10 years old, what are we going to do? Do we have another north side of South Bend that's going to be empty? Or meth labs and what have you?
1 minute, ma'am.
Pardon me?
You have 1 minute.
Okay, I'm done. That's it. Thank you.
Right, thank you.
Hi, my name is Gabrielle Thompson. I live at 1121 Stanfield in the Harder Heights area, and I'm here to support and follow up what Bill Sykes was referring to as far as discrimination against pit bulls. A lot of people are very shocked to find out about the BSL, the breed-specific legislation that St. Joe County has, specifically for pit bull, any mix, any type of pit bull dog. Animal control requires 7 requirements. Some of them, $300,000 personal liability insurance, a dangerous animal license, a muzzle all times that they're outside of your home, and a 5-sided kennel. If If anyone's ever met a pit bull, you can see how ridiculous that is. There's also a no rescue, no adopt clause that comes in effect when it comes to pit bulls. In other words, if a pit bull is left outside starving to death, it won't be rescued. If it gets loose and someone finds it, it won't be adopted. Either way, that dog's going to die, no matter what their personality. They're wonderful animals, even the ones that have been through the terrible abuse and neglect that I've heard quite a bit about. Are still often wonderful animals. Any dangerous animal definitely has to be dealt with, but that doesn't mean it's definitely going to be a pit bull. Several of my friends are police officers, and they've actually come to me asking for different options where they can take these dogs that they find neglected, bought, bred, abused, because they don't want to take them to animal control, because they also believe in this breed. And to follow up what Bill was saying, Indianapolis, Fort Wayne, and Evansville do not have BSL. I think South Bend is ready to follow them, be progressive, be open-minded, and help dispel the discrimination and the myths regarding these dogs. If anything, they should put that energy that they're going after these vicious dogs and actually go after the criminals that are breeding them and fighting them and abusing them. I think that money and energy would be better spent.
1 minute.
I'm done. Thank you.
I like that. Thank you very much.
My name is Linda Cole, 2108 South Meade Street. We find it unacceptable that the city engineer, city planner, common council, mayor's office, the water works, would not and did not foresee a problem with the land for which we built our future on. I have talked to too many people around the ethanol plant. As they remember, pre-ethanol, there were very few homes and a high water table. Pre-ethanol, most of the land was owned by the city of South Bend for non-payment of taxes. Now, post-ethanol, many families put trust in the government to protect them and faith, with that building our homes would be safe and a true investment in our future. Now, with post-ethanol, we are left with water, black mold, and a true financial and unjust loss, while our government has gained in taxes and revenue. We have a solid neighborhood. We are good, hard-working, low-income families now being offered a Band-Aid to ease the pain and cost instead of a permanent solution. As you can tell, emotions are high with frustration, hurt, and anger. We do appreciate what has been done thus far and hope more will come. Please help us find a solid plan for us, one that is forever. One more note, our homes are not vacant. We should be a priority.
Thank you. Anyone else who wants to speak to us at this time? We're adjourned.